Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. Of course, today is, what day is today, man? Is today Wednesday?
Wednesday, hump day, baby.
I'm just making sure today's Wednesday because it seems so strange after you saw a football last night. I'm not used to Tuesday night football. I don't think anybody is used to Tuesday night football.
I don't think the Buffalo Bills are either.
Yeah. But before we jump into all of that, man, the top news of the hour, because news breaks every friggin' minute. Is a couple of things jumped off. Before I even jump into the news, let me introduce everybody. This is Box Seats. I'm Frank Holder. That's Fig. That's Talent. If you don't know these guys, they've been in the comedy business for a very long time. They've been around. They've been in Def Comedy Jam. They've been in specials. They've been in films, commercials. They've been in a minute. They've been in the game for a very, very long time. But this is where we talk about sports with comedians. So, we have a little funny spin with it. Now, I don't know where the funny's going to be in this next story I'm about to drop to you guys, but I'm sure we'll find something in it. But the Florida Gators is now halting all football activities due to COVID because it looks like they had 19 positive tests, and they're supposed to play LSU, LSU on Saturday. So here we go again, talking about COVID. Here we go again, talking about, football with COVID. I mean, it seems like it's every day, every week. It's a constant thing. You know what I mean? And now I don't know how college football is going to handle it and everything else, but you tell me what your thought process is, Talent, about hearing now Florida Gators might halt and might actually suspend the game this Saturday against LSU, which is a pretty big ball game. What's your thoughts, Talent?
Well, I mean, like I said, man, my thoughts for college and pro are two different things. On one hand, you got these grown-ass men that can, listen, it's your life, And then on the other hand, you got what we call kids, almost men, young men.
Right.
So they do need some guidance. They need some people to help them along the way. I said they shouldn't have started anyway. Mm-hmm. College is totally different than a grown man going to work. Right. You know what I mean? You're in a college environment. It's so much stuff from the cafeteria to the courtyard, to the gymnasium, to the classrooms, to the hallway. It's so much stuff and so many people you are constantly going to be around, and you're a kid. I really can't rely on you to do the right thing 110% of the time. So if they stop and it catches on and there's more cases and everybody got to stop, makes me happy because you're doing what I wanted you to do in the first place.
With that being said, Fig, I will just reiterate and say again, 19 COVID tests happened on campus. And they had 19 positive tests, and they're supposed to play Saturday. Today's what day is today again? Hump day.
Wednesday. Hump day Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. So I don't know what else they thought they're supposed to be thinking, but I don't want to take your time, Fig. Tell me what you think. Because today, what day is today again? It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Hump day Wednesday.
Right. And the game is Saturday. So what's the thought? Like, game should be canceled. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, listen. The thing is, it goes back to what we've been saying since the inception of the show. It's greed, it's greed, it's greed.
Yep.
Those coaches make millions of dollars every single year. The school gets advertising dollars. It's all about the money. They don't care about the kids. We know that, look, we don't care about them as far as paying them for what it is that they do, for generating the money. And we know that those student athletes, quote unquote, they generate all of the money. And without them, they wouldn't have a product. And you letting these young men and women go back to this campus so they can make money for the university and for the coaches and the staff that runs that. And it's horrible, man. It's an absolute horrible decision to make. And the worst thing about it is that, I know this is going to go left, but hold on. Scientists have proven that, I believe from the age of 18 to around somewhere in your 20s, that there's a part of the human brain that stops functioning. The part of the human brain that allows a human being to see the consequences of their actions down the road. And that's scientifically proven. So these young student athletes, they can't even have the ability to see what it is that they're getting themselves into going down the road. And that's why You need parents and people in authority to make the decision for them. But the people in authority, they so greedy, they're not making the proper decisions for the young people that are going to the universities. And that is horrible.
I would say this.
I see down the line lawsuits galore. They're going to be suing these people left and right.
I would say this. You said stop functioning. I think you mean maturing and not maturing in because they're still underdeveloping in process. Because we all know, when you're 18, between 18 and 21, hell, your brain is still maturing up until you get 21, 22 years old. And they are not the ones who should be moving forward the decision with. They had a lot to do with that. So I agree with what you're saying, except the part you said stop function. I understand everything you're trying to say. I will throw this out there to you, Talent, that we got to move on. I'll throw this out to you, and you tell me what your thought process is. Florida, again, because it's Wednesday, Florida is making this long, drawn-out decision. Like Fig said, they're not paying. The players aren't being paid. The players are just playing because they want to play because they're hoping to get, whether it's true or not or rare or not, they're trying to get a shot in the NFL. You know what I mean? Some of them are trying to hopefully be just to help pad their stats and everything else. It should be, to me, the game should be postponed to a later date, a clearer date, or scratch the season and let's figure out something else out. But putting these players to have them play right now and putting their lives in danger, possibly, or people around them, it makes absolutely no sense to me. But I'll leave it. You have your thought on that, Fig. You say after that, then we got to move on. What's your thought, Talent?
Well, I mean, I think that, again, I'm going to always be, when we're talking about these kids, I'm a dad, so my dad mechanism is going to kick in. I'm going to always say that they shouldn't be playing. So if they got to postpone it, cancel it, stop the program, whatever the case may be, I'm all for that, And again, it's exactly what you said. It's stacking your stats, padding your numbers because you're trying to go to the league or be professional or whatever. But like we had a couple of guests on this show that said, hey, it doesn't matter whether you play or not. They're going to go off of your numbers anyway. You know what I mean? They're going to go off the last numbers you had. So they didn't have to play. Like, it's a rare situation. This, again, people, I can't stress it enough. This is not just happening to you, whoever you are. It's happening to the world.
Yeah, I agree. And Fig, I'm going to throw it to you. Let's be honest. They're not going to stop the college football season. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't care how many people get it. It's not going to stop it. But to pat on what Talent said, what's your thoughts on that?
I think unless the government steps in and it's federally mandated, that they won't stop it. And the sad part about it is every student athlete thinks they have an opportunity to go pro. But what is the average, even at your top school that has a lot of people go pro? What is the average? Maybe 10 a year, maybe 10 get to go pro from maybe, some of your top programs, like a school like Florida. They have quite a few, high level athletes. What do you think? Maybe 10 will make it to the league?
From Florida,
maybe?
I was going to say, I don't even think it's that high. I think you might.
And they got, the squad is about 40, 50 people, right? So out of that, you have a very small percentage that's actually going to make it, and the rest of them are putting their lives on the line for absolutely nothing.
Right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about baseball right now, because last night at the city of Atlanta, they're not happy about the Hawks. They're not happy about the Falcons, but they got to be happy about the Braves. The Braves have not lost in the postseason. They're 7-0, and last night they beat the Dodgers. They take now a 2-0 series lead. And right now, they got to be sitting pretty happy right now because they're beating who everybody's expecting to win the World Series. They're beating the Dodgers. So I'll say this to you. Hypothetically speaking, let's say Atlanta does beat the Dodgers. Talent, do you think management over at the LA Dodgers, because let's be real, the Dodgers are expected to win the World Series. They put a lot of money in it. Dave Rogers blew a couple of World Series appearances and everything else. Clayton Kershaw's not balling like he's supposed to. They paid a hell of a lot of money to Mookie Betts and everything else. Do you think they clean house? If the Dodgers don't make it to the World Series? Hell, if they don't even win the World Series, because they're expected to win. What do you think the Dodgers do?
So you're saying the Dodgers are the Clippers of Major League Baseball? and now you want to apply Clipper logic to the Dodgers. If they don't win, clean house.
only because in the last 5 seasons, the Dodgers have made the World Series a couple of times, right? They were supposed to beat the Red Sox. They were favored against the Red Sox. Now that this year they were favored to win the whole thing. Let's be honest. They're favored to win the whole thing, especially with the signing of Mookie Betts. Now, when you add Mookie Betts signing on everything else to that, that was supposed to be the one cherry on top thing they needed. They got a couple of aces. The pitching staff's phenomenal. Clayton Kershaw. But guess what? Before Game 2 last night, Clayton Kershaw got another back spasm. Could not play. And what happened? They lost the game. Now they're down 2-0. 2 more losses. They're gone. It's over. They won't even make it.
I mean, I get why you're saying what you're saying, but my point is, here's my thing. You work hard to get a team of a caliber to make a run like what we're talking about. And like you said, in the last 5 years, a couple of times you got to the big dance. You just didn't, she didn't dance with you. She lost her slipper. She ran home. It was midnight, and you didn't get to dance. The point is, you've got a team of the caliber. You put it together the right way to get to the dance. I don't believe in breaking the team up until it's time. I don't think just because people fall short, we clean house and start over. Because you know how long that could take. We all know, and rebuilding in sports is a MFer. So it's like, why force myself to rebuild if I still got the caliber team? Just tweak a few pieces, just like we always talk about in the NBA, right? We always talking about, hey, if they just add so-and-so or take away so-and-so, that gives them a perimeter shooter. Same thing with baseball. Figure out what that deficit is, where we keep falling up short, and try to fix it flat and plug those holes. Don't clean house.
Okay. All right. So he says don't clean house. Let me just throw this to you, Fig. Let me just add this other caveat. Let that be the word of the day. Let me add this caveat. They got one of the largest payrolls of the league, if not the largest. I'm gonna have to have my main stack check on that. I think they got the largest payroll in the league. But right now, you got the largest payroll. You've been to the World Series a couple of times, and right now you about to get beat by Atlanta. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw, even though Atlanta's putting together a run, and again, nobody saw that coming either.
You can't look at it like that, Frank. 2 words for you: Buster Douglas.
All right, Big, what's your thought process? What you think?
Listen, man, they were who we thought they were. Now, listen, man, here's the thing. The Yankees for years, when we had, the owner Steinbrenner there, he used to buy championships. He used to get the best players, pay them top dollar, and it used to work. It used to win. So other teams now are trying to use that same formula. That formula doesn't always work. Because here's the thing. You spent the money on some guys, and the guys that you spent the money on are injured or not playing at 100%. Like Kershaw. Kershaw was supposed to pitch last night. Mm-hmm. He got back spasms. He didn't pitch. That probably, if he was healthy, that probably would have been your 1-1 tie. Probably. So how do you break that up? You don't break that up just because, the guy can't go, like last year. Like LeBron James got injured. He had a groin injury. The Lakers didn't get rid of him because he had a groin injury. You know what I mean? They waited till the next year. They added another player, and the Lakers are the world champions.
Unfortunately, baseball's a little different. The Yankees, yes, they did so-called buy championships, but I'll give the Yankees one thing. They always had a great manager in the dugout who knew when to mix and match players and put them in their possible potential. Dave Roberts right now, I have to agree. I would have to say that Dave Roberts' head is probably on the chopping block about being able to get fired if they don't get to the World Series and win. Because for the last several years, he's been the one, everybody's been looking at him like, what's wrong with Dave Roberts? He's made a lot of questionable calls and questionable decisions. Now, that being said, we got to move on to football because last night was a hell of a game. Talon, I know you saw if you didn't see the game last night, Talon, I'm gonna be upset because that night, that was a mix amongst boys between the Bills and the Titans. After you saw the game, Talon, I'm just throwing it out to you. What was your thought process after you saw, that mix amongst boys between the Titans and the Bills? And the Bills have been playing, and the Titans ain't played in 2 weeks. Talon, what's your thoughts?
But you know why that happened, Frank. Everybody kept talking about taking their checks away. So them boys came out there like, take my check? You want to see somebody produce at a high level, threaten to take that check away. You ever work for somebody, you get that every other week you get the check, right, Fig? And watch somebody open that envelope and that check ain't right? They be ready to kill you and it's just missing a few dollars. They talking about taking these dudes' whole check.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. They kept saying it for 2 weeks. Yo, you know what? If they're gonna keep doing this, they might as well go get a check. What? So the announcers of the game was like, after like halftime, they was like, well, damn. They said, which one didn't get to practice? Because that was the whole thing going in. Well, these guys, their practice has been disrupted, blah, blah, blah. They can't go into the facility for X amount of days. They're going to be rusty. Man, let me tell you something. Saying man amongst boys is being kind. Mm-hmm. That was Davey and Goliath.
Yeah.
I got two words for you. Buster Douglas.
Hey, what was your thought when you saw that?
Yo, man. I got 2 words for what happened last night. Mollywopped.
That was
horrible, man. You know what's really funny? Every last one of us picked Buffalo against the Titans.
No, I didn't.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, you did.
I got it on tape. I got it.
Yeah, you did.
Tape.
We all did Buffalo.
Picked Buffalo. Every last one of us picked Buffalo.
Matter of fact, Frank, you said Buffalo. You said Buffalo first, and then you said, "Is anybody taking the Titans?" And everybody was like this, and
nope.
Everybody was Buffalo.
Oh, everybody picked Buffalo last night. And listen, why did we pick Buffalo? Because Buffalo's a good team.
Yeah,
they hadn't lost the game. They were playing at a high level until they met old John Henry. Old John Henry. He got a stiff arm. You see me? Yo, they played their behind off last night. And let me tell you something. Tennessee was 1 win away from going to the dance last year. And you know what? They look like they still got that. Because you know what? There's something that don't go away when Tennessee plays a physical brand of football. They got like that old school brand of football. It ain't pretty. It ain't nice. But it's rough and rugged. And they were running over some people last night, literally.
Check this out. Speaking of running over people, check this out. On I think it was Tennessee Titans Talk Radio. You know, I check out, you know, the boards and stuff like that as I prepare for the show. Do you know, since Le'Veon Bell got cut, Tennessee Titans is supposed to be one of the teams in the running to be able to get Le'Veon Bell. And now, we all, in case you all don't know, let me just say this out there. Le'Veon Bell got cut. He got cut this morning. So any team can pick him up right now for the player minimum. Like it basically, you're paying it lower than low. And if he goes to certain teams, first of all, let me just say this too. The Jets were very unhappy for his production of what he's done for the last 18 months. But if he goes to certain teams, I think he could even go back to Pittsburgh. It wasn't his production. It was the play calling. It was the offensive line. It was it was not Le'Veon Bell's play. So wherever he goes, I think it's going to be like he didn't miss a step. It's possible he could go back to Pittsburgh, but imagine him landing on a team like Tennessee with Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? Or imagine him going back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is 4-0. Or imagine him just a lot of teams. Every team in the NFL can afford to play a minimum. So, Talon, my question to you is, where do you think he's going to land? Could it be Chicago? Chicago needs a running back right now. They need a running back real bad. He could go back to Arizona. Arizona needs a running back right. I mean, you know, there's a lot of teams that.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams you can go to, Frank. Obviously, that's going to depend on him. If I'm him, I'm doing the same thing we talk about other players. I'm looking at the best situation this year.
Right.
You know, not the future, but who can I jump on the ship this year that look like it's sailing where we need to go? And the first 3 that you name are those ships. It's not a bad look in Chicago. It's not a bad look to go back home. It's definitely the first runner would be right now, if we judge off of right now, is the Titans. You know, you go to the Titans, that ship looked like it got sails, motors. It looked like it got everything it needs to go all the way across the ocean, east to the west. You know what I mean? So that one would be number 1. Going back home would be number 2. Chicago would be a close third.
Okay. I'll even throw this out there too. What happens to Fig? I'm throwing the question you, Fig. What happens if he ends up landing on Kansas City? Because Kansas City, you know, they had a
stop. Shut up.
The Kansas City just had an injury.
My mouth.
Kansas City just had an injury.
That was the first thing I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
They got the little running back, the rookie and stuff like that. He's running across the yard. The 2 people that I was gonna say is, what if he goes to Kansas City, or what if he goes to Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore needs a running back badly. Their running back got hurt. Yeah.
You go to Baltimore.
I mean,
Oh,
he would change a lot of places. He would change a lot of places he goes
Let
to.
me tell you something.
Yeah.
And like you said, every team has a player minimum. The
Mhm.
rich get richer, baby. Why would you go to one of those other teams that may have a chance to win when, if it's your choice, you could go to a contender? Let me ask you this. Would you go to Chicago or would you go to Kansas City or Baltimore? If I had to pick for them three teams, I'm not picking Chicago. I'm pick either Baltimore or I pick KC. Probably KC. I'll pick Kansas City because Kansas City, here's the thing. Kansas City doesn't have a great defense.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you keep the other team's offense off the field? You run the ball. You got a Le'Veon Bell and the rookie, was it Douglas Hilaire or something like that? The rookie running back. You got those two guys in the backfield. Man, let me tell you something. You can run that clock. You can run some time off that clock.
Yeah,
that would be a nice landing spot for a person with the talent like Le'Veon Bell. And the only reason he left Pittsburgh because they had contract disagreement. It was all about the money. Well, he already got his money, so he can go back to that organization because they don't need to pay him.
Do we ham sandwich smack the hell out of the Jets ownership?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
because here's the thing, he wanted to be more involved in the offense. I'm thinking to myself, you losing anyway. Why wouldn't you take your best talent on the field and give him the ball and see if you can make something happen? I don't understand. They need to get rid of that coach.
I was about to say that was more of a coaching issue than dealing with him. Had a lot of things didn't. It was out of his hands. But let me throw the ball back. Yeah, let me throw the ball back. Since you brought up Kansas City, Kansas City is a great thing. I think Kansas City might be a little bit exposed because their running game is not as sharp as you would expect it to be. Their passing is great. Everything else is great. They might have been a little bit exposed. I think with Big Stick is a great point because if you do add him, they're going to be really tough to stop. They're tough to stop anyway, but now it seems like the teams have figured out kind of a way to say, okay, we might be able to do this. From the Patriots game, the Patriots did that. Then the Oakland Raiders copied the exact same defense. Several commentators admitted that. They said, this was like we're watching the Patriots game all over again with the defense. They learned how to slow them down. With Pat Mahomes scrambling so much, they need a running game. Talent. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they could use a running game, but you know what? It's like teams their reps and their winning is built on a certain thing. That's why we see teams. We look at certain teams and be like, "Yo, they're a defensive team. Oh, this team they're known for their passing. They got great quarterback and receivers. This team's a running team." It's always been like that in the NFL. Like teams, they get an identity, and they're known for something. So I don't think every place that can use a running back, I don't think you add one anyway because that's not part of their identity. So you might run into the same problem. If he goes to a team whose identity is passing, and yeah, he's a great back, you throw him in there, but it's not really part of their game plan, so he get a few touches anyway, he's in the same predicament. Right. So I think we got to look at it like, what team could he go to that was using the run and can use a running back? Not just because they can use a running back, because that might not be part of their identity. If I'm throwing 3 or 4 downs all the time, more times than not, doesn't matter what running back I bring in if that's not the plays I'm calling.
Okay, I'll leave you with that thought. Let's move on to the NBA because the time's moving. News just broke not too long ago that Stan Van Gundy has met with the Pelicans and is moving very, very close to signing on with the Pelicans and everything else. So, Fig, I'm gonna get you the first question and everything else. First question on this: do you think Stan Van Gundy meeting with the Pelicans and signing? Let's say he signs with the Pelicans. Do you think it's a good move for him to be with the Pelicans? Especially, we all know how Stan Van Gundy coaches. Does that make sense? Is that a perfect fit for Stan Van Gundy there at the Pelicans, or what's your thought?
When you say we know how he coaches, what are you referring to?
How he coaches more defensive oriented first. He on and off the triangle offense. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like he thinks like his brother with Jeff. He thinks, and the Pelicans, their biggest concern was defense.
Oh, he took that shit like it was like you said. You know how R. Kelly get down. What do you mean? I know how R. Kelly get down. That's how you responded, Phil. You was like, what you, don't put me in that shit. What you mean?
Oh man, yo, you are crazy. Yo, man, Stan is old school.
Right.
And, I think, you know, here's the thing about the Pelicans. They got some young players, and they could use a little discipline. You know what I mean? They got some young, I think, future stars. I love Brandon Ingram. You know what I mean? We have not yet to see what Zion could turn into. I don't think Stan Van Gundy is the dude to give Zion a diet plan. I don't think Stan Van Gundy could give Zion a meal plan, because he could use one himself. As far as you know what I'm talking about, Stan Van Gundy. You don't want to eat when he eats or what he eats as an athlete. I'm trying to tell you, but as far as a defensive coach and what he brings to the table, no pun intended. I think that the Pelicans could learn a lot from a veteran coach that teaches defense, because if those dudes play, they already seem to have their offense intact. We already know they can score, but if they get their defense down, you know, at the end of the game, at the end of the day, if you can stop a team, you can beat them.
But I
don't see that as a bad hire.
Okay. Who did the meeting? Was it Jeff or Stan?
The meeting with the Pelicans is Stan. The meeting with the Rockets is Jeff. Now let me just say that. Let me just say this before I throw this to you, Talon, on just because I want to piggyback off something Fig said. Fig said that with Brandon Ingram, we need to make sure we've mentioned before Brandon Ingram and before Stan takes that, they need to lock in Brandon Ingram. He's not signed. You know what I mean? If he doesn't sign, then that changes the whole outlook. So again, the question is, does that make sense to you? If he signed, you know what I mean?
Well, here's what I know from history in the NBA. NBA history is a lot of times cats don't sign is a reason they don't sign right away. And maybe the coaching is that reason. So maybe they're trying to lock in a good coach that Ingram believes in to sign.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
You know what I mean? So and that's the thing about players when they become free agents and where they're going to go. They look at these things like, okay, I like your organization, but who's going to be the coach?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we looking at such and such and such and such. Well, if you do such and such, I'm definitely signing. That's a good coach. I think that may be in play here. You know what I mean? So whenever you see them not lock the personnel in before the coaching personnel, that's usually got something to do with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Now, speaking of coaching and speaking of locking and everything else, the boards are saying right now that LeBron is expected to play till he's 40. And if he signs a extended contract, he wants to stay till he's 40. I'll ask you guys, do you see talent? Do you see LeBron playing till he's 40?
How old is he now?
Huh?
35.
How old is he now?
He's 35.
He's what?
He's 35. About to be 36.
He could do it.
Mm-hmm. So
he could do it.
So let look at the thought process. They're going to try to sign AD. They're going to try to make sure they lock him in again for another year. They definitely trying to make sure that they lock in LeBron till he's 40, lock that in. And they're going to try to continue to build for the next 3 or 4 years. And then, they might try to sign LeBron till he's 40. He might retire when he's 38, 39. Is that something to build off of? If you're a free agent, I'll throw this question to you, Fig. If you're a free agent and you're trying to decide where you want to go, is the Lakers a destination you want to land, knowing that LeBron is going to stay there and AD is doing contracts year to year? I got to say that.
No, and I'm going to tell you why. Just, and this is personal for me. When you're talking about a free agent, we're probably talking about a star. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about an underling. We're talking about a star. LeBron James, there's nothing against him, but he sucks all the air out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
You're a player and you're a star and you go to the Lakers because LeBron James is who he is. Whether they win, however they win and however old LeBron James is, he's going to get all the credit. I don't get 30, 36, 37, 38, 39. LeBron James is getting all the credit. And as a star, I want the credit for the work that I put in. You know what I mean? I thought the AD put in enough work to win the MVP. It automatically went to LeBron. And I think that's the way it's going to be as long as you're on a LeBron James team. I think that's why Kyrie left. I think that's why Paul George and Kawhi decided not to go to Los Angeles, because those type of players would like to get some of the credit for themselves. And I think if you play along LeBron James, you're never going to get the credit for what it is that you do. It's everything that happens good for that team is always going to go to LeBron James.
Okay, I'll throw the same question out to you, Talent. But I will say this: if he stays and LeBron's playing and he's winning at his age, it will be historical. So the credit should go to him.
Kareem.
Okay, Kareem won. Yeah, Kareem did win. But Kareem, he was part of the motor that made them win. LeBron, if they stay,
they don't win without him.
That's true. But if LeBron stays and everything else, LeBron would be the focus point. Like the offense runs through him. It's the main thing. Anyway, Talent, what you think?
Well, I think words they matter, and words make a difference. If I'm a star and I'm going to this team, does it matter? Does the word credit or the fanfare? You don't need the hype. There's hype and then there's credit. I think a young star is concerned with the hype at least. The credit is what comes down the line, meaning when we sit here and we go through the numbers and go, oh, you got 5 trips, you did this, you did that, but the hype is for a young star is very important. You're building a person's their ego, their drive, all of that for a young star is very important. So I totally understand if I'm a young Kyrie and I get my chip and I'm going, okay, let me go over here because I did that with this guy. Let me go do some more stuff by myself to show that it's me and what I bring to the table. So he got a good point right there with the credit and hype situation for a young star. I agree with Vic. I'm not signing with a team, and I don't really care too much about the hype and LeBron. He is who he is. I care more about the year to year with AD. Like, if a big part of the winning is not guaranteed for next year, why would I sign long term? Why would I sign 4 years when everybody's signing 1 year?
Right.
The winning guy is saying, I'm gonna do one at a time. Well, I'm do one at a time with you.
Okay.
So when you done that.
I could agree with that part, but I will say this too: if you're a young guy and you're coming in the league, I think you'd want to win too. You know what I mean? You want to win it because we all know an NBA championship is not guaranteed. It's just not. No matter whether it's LeBron, whether it's Golden State, whether it's Brooklyn, it doesn't matter. Winning, it could be anybody.
Yeah, but ego is everything, Frank. I think you underestimate when you get that win. When you get that win, right? Like perfect example. What's my man name on the Lakers that opted out to play?
Oh, Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley.
Yeah.
Perfect example is, I guarantee you, now they give him a ring, but I guarantee you he don't feel good about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I guarantee it sits different with him. So I say that to say that young guy come over there, yeah, they want to win, but they want to get some credit, like you said, credit that they wanted. So if I go over there and I get one right away, then the next 15 years of my career, I do nothing. I don't feel good about that because people are always going to say, LeBron got me that ring. He's right.
So now I want those other questions out there to you, Fig, before Rodney comes in. Billy Donovan came in, and in 30 days, he got hired as Chicago coach, right? He fired everybody. I mean, everybody. He fired 4 coaches. He fired, the word is too, on the boards and stuff, he's even firing people all the way down to the ball board. He's cleaning house. He's starting from scratch from everything, and he wants to show he has a no-nonsense mentality, and they want to build the Bulls back up to being what they used to be. Fig, the question to you is do you think Billy Donovan is doing the right move by firing everybody?
Yes. Let me tell you what. They had a losing culture. It was losing culture. Frank, I don't want you to get angry with me because I love you. I love you.
Here we go.
But this is like when Chicago got rid of Michael Jordan. It was like when the Red Sox got rid of the Big Bambino. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know and they had the curse. And they lost for how many years after they got rid of him?
Forever.
64?
Forever. It seemed like forever, right?
Forever.
It's the same thing. Chicago, not only did they let Michael Jordan walk out of the door because the GM had a personal vendetta against a winning Hall of Fame coach, they let their star franchise player walk out the door because they wouldn't let him have the coach that he wants. That is unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep Phil, you keep Mike, you keep building, there's a strong chance that you get 1 or 2 more championships out of the Chicago Bulls. There's a strong chance you get possibly 2 more.
Hold up, the curse
Phil
of the Big Bambino. Let's keep it real. Boston lost forever. When I say forever, people have lived and died and never
ever.
Right.
Okay, let's bring in Rodney Perry because it's time for Rodney Perry with his I agree, I disagree, and it looked like he's cleaning house.
You get rid of everybody and their mama.
He's cleaning.
Hey guys, just doing a little house cleaning. Let's get to it. You guys covered a lot of ground today.
We try to do that, Rodney. We try to do that.
First of all, scientists have proven
It was a study done.
When did Fig and Frank become neurosurgeons? Like who told these guys that they can comment on the mental state of anybody? I'm like, what is Fig losing his damn mind? You know, based on my studies. Okay. Here's the deal. If you're on the cusp, I mean, because we're thinking of great players, maybe they should sit out. But there's a lot of players that aren't great, that are on the cusp, and they need to play. They need to play. These college players need to play so they can get a one more sample size, so maybe they get to the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and guess what? Y'all said it. They not about to stop football. Now, if it's my child, just like I'm doing with my daughter right now, she's doing her homeschooling right here. If it's my child, they don't go. And that's a parent for parent thing. But you cannot expect college football to shut down. They are not going to do that. It's too much money at stake. And we can all pontificate on their damn neuroscience, but no, stop.
The word for the day is pontificate.
And neuroscience. All right. One of my favorite parts of this show is when talent hits us with an analogy.
He does it every day. He got it every day.
He came today he brought the noise today.
He
said that winning that game was like when they said they're gonna take your check. Oh, y'all taking people check, huh? Guess what? We about to whoop some ass. We had two word sightings. 2 words for you. Buster Douglas. 2 more words. Mollywop. I believe mollywop is 1 word for the record.
Is it? Oh, my bad.
But thoroughly impressive, Fig. Here's the deal with Le'Veon Bell. This is what you got to ask yourself. And I think y'all covered it a little bit, but why is this guy being cut? Why did he end up out of Pittsburgh? Why are the Jets mid-season going, you know what? We don't want to mess with you no more. There's something to be said. Oh, here comes an analogy. There's something to be said for a dude that's been kicked off 2 NFL teams.
Well,
there's something to be said. If you the Chiefs, if you Baltimore, you might not want to bring a cancer into your locker room.
Mm.
You might not. You. If I'm the GM, I'm getting on the phone. I'm going, hey man, what's wrong with this dude? Come on, man, keep it real with me, man. We looking at him. I mean, y'all got rid of him. What the hell? What you mean he pee on himself?
He pee on himself, Rodney.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. And so maybe there's more at stake than we know in terms with Le'Veon Bell. We don't know. All right. Boy, let me pull a race card as a grown black man. Boy, what we've been talking about? We've been talking about all these coaches at large. We've been talking about my man that came on the show. What's his name? Tyronn Lue.
Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell. All these black coaches at large, and we done dug up the Van Gundys. We done pulled Stan and Jeff Van Gundy out our ass. Really, white America? Really, white folks? Are you serious?
Yeah.
All these black coaches, and you're gonna dig up old ass Jeff Van Gundy and his brother.
Yes.
Is it me? Am I pulling a race card? Or are they?
Mm.
See what y'all doing. Get me started. And here we go. Well, we end up every episode bashing the great LeBron James. All right, let's talk about it. LeBron, can he pay the 40? I mean, the guy's in tip-top physical shape. One injury his whole career. He's at year 17. He just won a championship. I think he could at least win one more. And what y'all not talking about, y'all talking about people like Kyrie and Kawhi Leonard, Paul George didn't want to play with LeBron because they attitude. Yes, some players think like that, but you know what most players want? A ring.
Mm-hmm.
A freaking ring. They will forego the money for the ring. Who? What?
Kyrie, I mean, Kawhi Leonard got two.
Kawhi Leonard, he won another one. That's why he went to the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
He won another ring. Now, Kawhi Leonard, you know, I mean, the boy, first of all, you know what I call him. Can't get right. Okay? Can't get right. I don't expect him to make no decisions like a normal human being. And Paul George to prove to us is that he's unstable. He in the bubble, losing his damn man. Kyrie is a hater. So you got the trifecta of bad people to bring up. Look, free agents want a ring. If they got to go for 1 year and take a shot with a LeBron James and an AD, you do it. You go get that ring, because guess what? You don't want to be the guy sitting on that panel years from now, Charles Barkley,
Mm-hmm.
and not have no damn ring. You don't want Big Shot Bob to damn son you with 6. You don't want that. Now, there's some great players. But I'm telling you guys, cats want a ring. They want a ring more. They got money. They rich.
Mm-hmm.
They want that. They, when they get in the room with each other and get to talking, they get to talking. Oh, hey, get with it. Hey, dog.
Wait. Robert,
Come here for a second. They had a ring on their finger. Hey, come here, dog. Hey, you mind grabbing me some Kool-Aid?
Rodney,
Go.
listen, but you got to admit though, there are some players now still in the NBA in this day and age that are not willing to team up with another player to get a championship. The Dame Lillards, the Russell Westbrooks, like those guys are not teaming up like that. Dame
Lillard is hoping somebody come out to Portland. He hoping.
Right, but he not.
He not teaming up. He want to team up. Nobody want to come out there. It's Portland, for God's sake.
Yeah. But
Dame Lillard better get his mind right. If he want to stay out there in Portland, he gonna lose.
You're right.
Keep losing.
You listen, but all I'm saying is his mentality is not willing to go team up with a LeBron James in order to win. That's all I'm saying.
No. Okay, let's say you're right. What did that make him? I mean, you're a neurosurgeon. It make him stupid.
That means that no. That's new age. That means he got the mentality of a Magic Johnson. He got the mentality of a Kobe Bryant. He got the mentality.
That's not fair. No. What you're not gonna do
Those
is bring
guys
up
did
great
not
players.
want to
What you're
leave.
not gonna
Those
do
guys
is
did
bring
not
up
leave.
Kobe
Hold on.
Bryant
Hold on,
and
hold on.
Magic Johnson.
Hold on,
Lakers,
guys.
are you
Hold on,
serious?
guys. Hold on, guys. Before we get into that
I bet
conversation,
Charles Barkley wish he had left.
hold on. Let's get into this conversation. Stack. Checking the facts, Stack. Before we get into this conversation, we get anything right or wrong? Anything wrong, actually? Because I know there was some stuff we brought up.
You know, I just want to thank Rodney for keeping this a family show for me, because some of the things I hear y'all say, particularly Fig, I be want to just come cuss y'all out. I just want to cuss. I just want to cuss. I probably couldn't get my point across without cussing.
That's because you're young.
So thank you, Rodney.
Clean it out.
Secondly, the only thing y'all got wrong today was that anybody other than the Yankees would have the highest payroll in baseball, because we know that their thing is buying championships, because that's the only way New York teams can win championships is by buying them. But
Ooh,
other
you
than
sound
that-
like you from Boston.
Other than that, we had a clean show. You know,
Were you a Red Sox fan? You sound like a Red Sox fan.
All right,
That's called the Boston accent. Leave him alone.
I'm gonna go around the panel. I have a question for you guys right now, right? There seems to be a lot of coaches and assistant coaches arguing or having a heated discussion about Tyronn Lue staying with the Clippers and also interviewing with the Houston Rockets. I don't know what the backbone is. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know, that much hasn't gotten out. But the issue seems to be Tyronn Lue staying with the Clippers seems to be a problem with everybody. So I'm gonna start with you, Stack. What do you think the problem could be with Tyronn Lue staying there? We all know Doc left. What do you think?
I don't think there is a problem. I think that Tyronn
No, there's
Lue,
a problem. There's a problem. It's a fact. There's a problem. But what
you think there would be a problem? Or
No.
There is a problem?
There's a problem amongst the coaches in the NBA circles that Tyronn Lue staying there and becoming the head coach would cause some kind of other issues, dissension amongst other coaches, because it's supposed to be like a fraternity. So I don't know what it is yet. I will find out. But
Is the fraternity of white men? Is that what you're talking about? That's the fraternity. Because Tyronn Lue's already ran his own ship and won a championship on his own in Cleveland.
No, they that's a phrase being used. A fraternity of coaches, they all talk, they all speak to each other, they all talk to each other, and amongst themselves that they've talked to each other, word has leaked out that they don't like the fact that Tyronn Lue is supposed to be the next in line for. They want him.
It won't be a black coach that has an issue with it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay,
It won't be a black coach.
Friday Craig, what you think?
Here goes. Now I said this. Y'all remember this. So this is what happened. And I'm gonna use the comedy analogy. Once you become a headliner, you really don't want to go back to featuring for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyronn Lue had been a headliner. You just spoke to it. He ran his own ship. When he go back with Doc and he takes that lesser job, which he should have took the Laker job.
Mm-hmm.
He should have took the Laker job, but he was in his feelings. He ended up needing to work, and Doc Rivers took care of him. So now the conventional wisdom is that, which we may or may not know, is if behind the scenes, if that Doc thing was more than what we thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like you can't take the job with the Clippers because your man left.
Mm-hmm.
That's your guy. If your guy left, you can't take that job.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
I'm sure that's what the issue is. So, and we said this a couple weeks ago. Tyronn Lue should not take the Clipper job. They're gonna offer it to him because he's probably the number one prospect, but he gotta go. He gotta go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's why.
Here's something to think about. What if, and this is me hypothetically speaking, What if like Stacks mentioned that white good old boys club of coaches? What if they have a problem with, because the Clippers are supposed to be this man-made championship team already? So maybe they have a problem with these young black coaches attaching themselves to that situation. So maybe they think in their club that a team of that caliber that's supposed to be championship built and ready and put together should get one of these old school, bona fide white coaches. Maybe they have a problem with that.
You mean talent? You mean sort of like Steve Kerr did in Golden State and like Steve Nash did in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. These white boys
Yeah.
do it all the time.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem. I think that this goes against that grain. That is the way. It's an unwritten rule that's the way it's supposed to go. We're supposed to take care of our own and put them in the best position to win first. And you and me, if we go into coaching, we got to start with the Pelicans, the Grizzlies. You know, we got to get the team.
You gotta build a team from nothing. Yeah.
And I think it's bigger.
Rick, what you
It's
think?
bigger than sports too, because
Hold on.
just nepotism in general. When black people do
Rick.
nepotism, it's a problem.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
thinking that, you know, once you proven yourself as a champion coach, you know, it's not like Ty Lue was always an assistant coach. He proved himself as a head coach already. He was an assistant coach, he was a head coach, and he won at the highest level. He's already on the team. A lot of teams, when they fire the head coach, the guy next, the guy under him, it's been moved up a lot. That's not unusual in
Happens
the NBA.
all the time.
So I don't
Happens all the
understand the
time.
problem.
All right, let me ask- last question of the show. Is Mark Jackson ever going to be considered for a coaching job again this season? There's 6 coaching vacancies. You think anybody going to say, hey, Mark Jackson, why don't you come over here and coach the Clippers? Or Mark Jackson, why don't you come over here? Is anybody think on
Frank,
this fan? I'll
Frank,
stop with you.
It's 7 mega churches drafted right now. Mark will coach the mega church in a minute.
That's it. That's it. That's it, talent. That's it.
Rick, what you think, baby?
I think honestly, along what Talent said, because he alluded to it, is that Mark Jackson is being blackballed because of his religious beliefs.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
I agree
No
with that.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nobody that's actually working for or in the NBA umbrella can actually speak to the truth of it. But on the outside, we can see what it is, and we know what it is because he's a hell of a coach. He got the Golden State team right to the edge of a championship.
You see the
Steve
poster
Kerr came
behind
in and
you,
pushed them over. So it's crazy, yo.
Right.
He should
Right.
be a coach.
What you think?
Mark
Right?
Creflo Dollar Jackson.
Here goes, guys. Mark Jackson is a victim of the gay mafia.
Mm.
I'm gonna say it. You're not gonna hear this on mainstream media. You are not gonna hear this. So I don't know if y'all watched the playoffs, but did y'all see the gay commercials?
Yeah, I noticed that.
They had that. This is something you would not have seen 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And so, no disrespect for anybody that watches us that happens to be gay. I'm not indicting gay people, but the gay mafia has blackballed Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson called them dudes that was running the Golden State Warriors some sort of sissy or something, and that's been in his crawl ever since. You know what? You can get a job, you can commentate, mama, that man, but you will not coach this league.
Hand down, man down.
Stats,
No,
stats.
they'll let him coach. He got to wear a thong to every game under his suit.
You know, he picked the wrong city.
I'm about to go. I can't take it.
You picked the wrong city to be, super religious. It worked for Steph Curry and them because those are religious guys, but San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area is not a place to be super religious or anti-gay.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why? I mean, that I understand that for that team, but why can't he get a job on any other team in the league? That doesn't make sense.
You know why?
You know what? We'll finish this tomorrow. You know what we forgot to do today? We forgot to do our picks but we got till tomorrow.
We got tomorrow.
We got till tomorrow because tomorrow the next week's NFL season. Anyway, Talent, tell everybody how they can follow you.
All right, I got to get out of here. It's your boy Talent. See me on Twitter at It's Just Comedy, Talent Good Comedian. on Instagram and King Talon Harris on Facebook. Holla back, yo.
All right, Fig.
This is your boy F5G. Follow me on all social media platforms at Comedian Fig. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Comedian Fig. That's where you find me. I'm be hanging out on Rodney's page too, because that boy popular.
Rodney, I need to follow you.
Check me out on my new page. And I set it up for Fig as well. Fig, the neurosurgeon. And it's going down. No, Chicago next week, Riddles Comedy Club, and we'll tell you a little more about that. RodneyPerry.com is the website. Stack, you up.
Catch me hanging out with Rodney every Monday night at Magic City Mondays, eating Sweet Lou's wings. And if you can't make it, if you ain't got the $100 for parking, you can just follow me on Twitter or Instagram.
Wait, it costs $100 a park out there?
Yeah. On Mondays. On Mondays.
I'm definitely not going.
It's $100 to park, $100 to get in.
I'll park at my house and Uber in.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I'm not going. Well, I'm not going anyway. But you know, I definitely not going. Anyway, I'm
Need
Frank.
my dollar, Frank.
Oh yeah, I gotta give it. Somebody send me that dollar to send to him. That's Stack. That's Rodney. That's Fig. I also want to thank Talon for joining the show. I got to pay Rodney Perry back, y'all. I made a bet. I lost. This is the show called The Box Seat on Humor Mill. Make sure you download the app, tell a friend, or call your cable service provider to add the channel. I see y'all. I'm the loser. I see y'all tomorrow. You know what? I even lost. I got to wear a Lakers hat and a Lakers shirt and take a picture.
Don't do it.
Media.
Don't do
yeah,
it.
I got to pay my bets, bro. I got to pay my bets. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
Wow.